Black men have not been manly in quite some time when it comes to raising boys. How would you suggest that black men take on the role of leadership,
especially when there's an attack on black masculinity,
without women willing to listen to us? How do we prove our worth or take back the leadership? Take care of the boys. You want the women back? Take care of these boys. They run in the hood, killing people at will, flunking out of school, following the lead of the gangster rappers. There's a whole bunch of stuff we can do that ain't got nothing to do with the women, boys and men. Do you understand? Deal with the boys and the men. Leave her out of it and go straight to the boys. And you'll get her respect back. Give them jobs, give them education, give them training, give them your time. They not getting none of that from black men. We don't give a shit about black boys. And then we're gonna get mad at her for ending up with one later in life. It's ridiculous.
Like I
Create
said,
the product and get mad for her for ending up consuming the product.
She could consume whatever she wants. I'm just saying, as a black man,
it's not about her consuming whatever she wants, brother, because if we're trying to fix the black community, everybody and everything matters. It's not an individual. You're an individualist. You're not thinking as a community. Your whole analysis is based on me and her. Step out of that shit. This is systems at play. You understand?
Right.
Multiple black men screwed up. Multiple black women screwed up. You understand me? Look at the systemic nature and say, what system do we need to create as black men to prevent the Pookie and Ray Ray from coming into existence?
I'm starting to wonder how many black women fear confident black men, or specifically black male leadership. Because I understand it's very common, especially in spaces, where black men and women are getting together and talking about things that need to be done to improve the community and things that need to be done to change things. Both men and women talk about how men need to step up, take the lead, take charge, and do some things. But then I wonder, are we actually ready for the implications of that? Because the implications of that would mean that there are areas where black women right now have total control or agency that they might actually have to give up or at least start to share with black men. For example, it's been said that black women are the backbone of the black community. And many of us say this as a badge of honor, but at the same time, partially with a sense of sadness and a sense of bitterness or regret, because there's that feeling of black men have not been there for us. So if black men were to step up and start to take on more leadership positions, now the areas where these black women were having to do things by themselves would actually mean that now they are having to work together with a man. And the first place that this is going to start is going to be relationships. It's going to, before we go and try to change systems, before we go and try to change large communities, it would start in the home. It would start with men and women getting together and learning how to build a cohesive system in the home. Because the community starts with families, cohesive families that know how to work together. But now we're talking about men and women learning how to get together. Now we're talking about the balance of the masculine and the feminine and how they actually complement one another. Now we're talking about basic fundamental relationship skills that, quite frankly, many people don't have in the black community. Now we're talking about submission, a word that elicits a ton of fear from women particularly. And why is that? Because when we think about submission, many of us think about being dominated. We think about being abused. We think about being controlled. We think about being mistreated. We think about the misters in the world. We think about the color purples. We think about fences. We think about the worst aspects of toxic masculinity. And we equate that to submission. We don't see submission as the natural and healthy interaction between a masculine man and a feminine woman. We don't see that. We don't see submission as protection. We don't see it as safety. We don't see it as provision. We don't see it as a resource. Now I want to share with you guys a short clip of a wife panel I did a while back, where wives shared what submission means to them.
When I hear submission, I hear freedom, I hear peace. I feel like I can breathe. It's no longer, I'm not worried about it anymore. But I also have a God-fearing husband. I mean, we just don't look at the bigger picture. We know God is in control, or we should. And once we get that and we align ourselves with that, with him and the relationship that we should have with him, the order, then it's easier to submit.
For me, submission is showing my husband that I trust him. If I don't submit to my husband, that shows that I don't trust him. I don't trust that he can protect me. I don't trust that he is intelligent. I don't trust that he's capable. And it's emasculating. And so for me, I understand how submission can be scary. However, if you are with the right man, you should just fall in line, because at the end of the day, this man has no ill will toward you. He's not going to harm you. He's not going to harm your family. But I think Black women are just so naturally defensive and always trying to protect themselves against everyone, when really we're the ones, we need to protect ourselves from our own self and getting in our own way of having a good man, because there are still good men who are willing to provide the things that women say we want, such as protection, such as providing, such as provisioning, but we're too busy in our way and not turning our masculinity off when we get home.
But why is it that it is very common to see ladies go and be super quick to try to humble a man or keep him low, while at the same time desiring these men to go and be confident and lead and build something that's going to help improve the community? For example, let's just think about entertainment. Think about the different things that many of us like to watch or engage in and indulge in, whether it be television shows or just some of these, podcasts, some of these dating shows. It's super common to see a Black man who presents himself as confident or self-assured. It's very common to see a Black woman, or sometimes a multiple Black women, go in and try to humble him and try to make sure that he knows that he is not as great as he thinks he is. It happens all the time. And look, I get it. Nobody likes somebody who's too cocky. And I understand some folks are out of pocket. But what I would say is, given the history of what's gone on in this country and the things that men and women both deal with in the community, like, I actually feel like there should be more of an emphasis on trying to cultivate confidence, healthy confidence, in women and men specifically, instead of being so quick to like tear them down. We're so used to sometimes even seeing ourselves put in these negative lights. I wonder how that starts to interact or come out when we look at how we now interact with each other personally. But why is it that it is very common to see ladies go and be super quick to try to humble a man or keep him low, while at the same time desiring these men to go and be confident and lead and build something that's going to help improve the community? Because as I mentioned, in order to be any effective leader, you do have to have confidence. You do have to be self-assured. Those are qualities that need to be cultivated. So what is it that causes that fear or that intimidation or I don't know, that just lack of comfort that some of us have when we see a Black man who is just self-assured and confident? And I think it goes down to something quite simple: fear. You have Black women out there who have been traumatized, who have had their own negative experiences with men in their own life. I don't want to deny that. And we do see examples of toxic masculinity. I'm not going to deny that that exists. But you have that in some people, and then also couple that with a society that legitimately practices anti-Black misandry, meaning painting all Black men as this like Mr. Boogeyman, horrible people, when that's not true at all. Yes, there are toxic men out there, but that's not every single Black man. Black men have been the source of some of my greatest pain and also the source of some of my greatest joy, even in my own life. I've had horrible experiences with Black men and wonderful, beautiful experiences with Black men. They're not all the same. But I'm just saying is, when you have that environment where you have unprocessed trauma coupled with anti-Black misandry, and then all of the other spiritual issues that are going on in the community, that I think is what really drives and impacts a lot of women. And then on the side of men, obviously you have generations and generations of them knowing that they've been targeted, of them feeling disrespected, of them feeling undervalued, devalued, whatever. And it is this breeding ground for some of the issues that we have today. Restoration of a Black community, the rebuilding of a Black community, of a Black Wakanda, however y'all want to put it, really starts with the family. men and women actually understanding their unique value, understanding their roles, and not seeing it as a need to or minimize or compete against one another, but seeing it as a reason to respect. If men were allowed to lead in the capacity that God has created them to lead, I think we would see things in a lot better position. If women were given the capacity to be who they actually are versus feeling like they have to put on multiple hats and exist in a system that wasn't created for them, no, if they were able to quote unquote rest in their femininity in the realest form, things would be in a much better place. But my question to those ladies out there who do desire a healthy family system, or perhaps even desire healthy, better results for the entire Black community, do you even have it in your heart to trust Black male leadership? Or does the thought of that make you feel repulsed, make you feel afraid, and put you in fear? Because if so, then it's quite likely and it's quite possible that you are keeping yourself from what actually could be a godsend. But if you're not able to recognize good and godly men in your life because of that in-process fear and trauma, that is what actually keeps us from the very cycles that we are wishing to escape. So these are things to definitely think about. Anyways, those are my thoughts. What do you think? Do you agree or do you disagree? Let me know. Leave your questions, comments, concerns in the comment section below. Thank you so much for listening. If you've gotten this far, we'll talk later. Bye. I'm really excited to announce my new kids book, Aisha Learns to Love Her Hair. Aisha's hair is stunning, but she struggles to see its beauty. Through encouragement and wisdom from Grandma Lily, Aisha learns powerful lessons about self-acceptance. Aisha's journey is a heartwarming tale of family, culture, and confidence. Share her magical journey with your little loved one today, available for purchase.